Good day. So, I am John Kairi Eliason M. Bonsai, and in today's video, we are going to discuss the Module 5 in Basic Calculus. Included in this video is the lectures about implicit differentiation, the higher order derivatives, the relative extrema, the absolute extrema, and the mean value theorem. So, let's first talk about implicit differentiation. Implicit differentiation is a technique used to evaluate the derivative of an implicit function. So implicit functions are functions that can't be solved for y. Example of this is x sine of y plus y square is equal to 5. So hindi natin parang implicit functions are those kinds of functions na hindi natin kayang i-isolate yung function in terms of y lang. Kumbaga hindi natin ma-evaluate siya as ganito. Y is equal to some function of x, 'di ba? Kasi eto, there's no way na ma-simplify natin to in terms of y lang. Hindi natin ma-isolate yung y lang. Hindi tulad sa madalas natin na yung mga last lectures na pwede, for example, is explicit function. Example of explicit functions, yung hindi, yung alam na natin gawin is ganito. That is 2x plus y is equal to 5. In this case, we can solve for y. So this is yung gamay na natin, yung napag-aralan na natin last time. So ayun, I hope nakikita niyo yung pinagkaiba. Implicit functions are functions that can't be solved or isolated for y. Hindi ma-isolate yung y or hindi kayang i-isolate yung y. So, example of this is atong circle, x squared plus y squared equals 1. As you can notice, this is not a function, and if we try to solve it for y, we will end up with y is equal to positive negative square root of 1 minus x squared. So, ano na siya, hindi na siya, this dalawang function na to, 'di ba? So hindi, kumbaga, parang hindi na siya, parang nahiwalay na. So, pero, it would still be nice to be able to find the slope kasi, 'di ba? Slope is a derivative, 'di ba? So how do we solve for the slope of implicit functions, 'di ba? So, 'di ba? In order to find the slope, we have to differentiate the function or we have to differentiate the function. So that's the derivative of x squared plus the derivative of y squared is equal to the derivative of 1. We know from the power rule that the derivative of x squared is 2x, and the derivative of x squared is 2x, and in order to evaluate the derivative of y squared, we have to use the chain rule, diba? So that is, let's pretend muna na yung y is x. So that is, using the power rule, that is 2. Since nagpretend lang tayo na y is equal to x, so remain lang siya. Tapos, i-take mo pa natin yung derivative ni y. Kasi, di ba, kung maaalala nyo, chain rule is the derivative of the outside function times the derivative of the inside function. So, ang outside function is yung parang, yung y power na 2, we use the power rule, then let's multiply it by the derivative of the inside, which is, since hindi natin alam, ang derivative in terms of x ni y, that is, iiwan lang na ganyan. So, that is dy dx, or you can also use y prime if you want, as you can see here, and of course, the derivative of 1 is 0. Okay. So, ayan. Yun lang naman yung trick. Ang trick lang is gamitin si chain rule. So, simplifying, that is, then, of course, we know from the past lessons na slope is expressed by dy dx, or dy prime, diba? So, the next goal is, of course, to solve for y. To solve for dy dx, rather. So, that is, transpose this term to the other side. It will, that is negative 2x. And divide both sides by the term 2y. So, you'll end up with dy dx is equal to negative 2x over 2y. So this is the derivative of x squared plus y squared is equal to 1, or this is the term that describes the slope of x squared plus y squared anywhere in its domain, diba? So simplifying, that is dy dx is equal to negative x over y. So ang trick lang is to use the chain rule. Okay? Chain rule lang. Kasi naitakal naman na last time yung chain rule. So chain rule lang talaga. So let's try another example. As you can notice, 2y is equal to x squared plus sine of y. Hindi, it is impossible, or this term or this equation, this can't be solved for y. Hindi natin ma-isolate si y dito. So of course, we are going to use the implicit differentiation technique. So differentiate all terms, diba? So that is the derivative of 2y is equal to the derivative of x squared plus the derivative of sine of y. Then anong next na gagawin? So, we can pull out constants, diba? We can pull out constants from the constant rule, that is 2 times the derivative. So, that's 2 times the derivative with respect to x of y is equal to, ano bang derivative ni x square? Diba? That's just 2x. Plus, so, assume muna na si sine of y is sine of x lang. Ano bang derivative ni sine? Diba? Cosine. Cosine of y. Diba? Cosine of y times the derivative pa nung inside na function, which is just y. So, the derivative, the d dx of y. So, ayun, as you can notice, that is just 2 dy dx is equal to 2x plus cosine of y times dy over dx. Kasi if you try to evaluate the derivative with respect to x of y, of the term of y, that's just ano, dy dx, diba? Y prime, or if you want. Then of course the next step is to solve for dy dx. So let me just make some space here. Let's solve for dy dx. So that's 2 dy dx. Then eto, ililipat ko lang sa kabila. That's negative cosine of y dy dx is equal to 2x. Then factor out dy dx. So let's just say na si dy dx is y prime na lang. Y prime times 2 minus cosine of y is equal to 2x, diba? Then divide both sides by 2 minus cosine of y. Okay? So dividing, diba? That's just y prime is equal to 2x over 2 minus cosine of y. So take note na si y prime saka si dy dx is pareho lang. So, ayan. That's 2 dy dx is equal to 2 dy dx. At ayan, derivative na to is equal to 2x. Derivative na to, simpleng power rule lang. Plus cosine of y dy dx. Kasi, ano bang derivative ni sine? Diba? Cosine, then si y lang. Tapos, derivative ng inside, which is y lang. So, that's dy dx. So, simplifying, uh, i-isolate sa isang side lang si dy dx. I-isolate sa kabilang side, that's dy dx or y prime times 2 minus cosine of y is equal to 2x. And then, we end up with 2x over 2 minus cosine of y. So, this technique is called implicit differentiation. So, chain rule lang. Always remember lang yung chain rule. Derivative ng outside times the derivative of inside. So, here are the steps. Differentiate both sides with respect to x. Then, solve for dy dx. Or isolate mo lang si dy dx. So, let's try some examples. So, find the equation that represents the derivative of the function x squared minus xy plus y squared is equal to 7. So, as you can notice, ang function na to, hindi natin kayang i-isolate si y. So, we are going to use implicit differentiation kasi kahit anong gawin natin, hindi natin masasolve for y itong equation na to. So, let's try implicit differentiation. So, let's differentiate term by term. That's the derivative with respect to x of x squared minus the derivative with respect to x of xy plus the derivative with respect to x of y squared is equal to the derivative with respect to x of 7. So this is just power rule, 2x. This is product rule. So the derivative of x times y, so that's the derivative of x is 1 times y is yan, plus x times the derivative of y, which is y prime lang, diba? The derivative of y, okay, so that's itong side note lang, ddx of xy, kung para maalala yung product rule, that's the derivative of x, that's just 1 times y, plus plus x times the derivative of y. So that's just y prime, diba? So, plus the derivative with respect to x ni y square. So, ang unang gagawin is parang imagine mo lang sa isip mo na si y is x. So, anong gagawin? That's just power rule. That is just power rule, diba? That's 2y times yung derivative ng inside, which is y lang. So, that's dy dx or y prime is equal to the derivative with respect to x ni 7. That's 0. Then, next is simplify and solve for y prime. That's 2x minus y minus xy prime plus 2y prime, 2y prime is equal to 0. So, isolate natin sa y prime. That's negative xy prime plus 2y prime is equal to y minus 2x. Then, yung y prime is factor out. Negative x plus 2y. That's equal to y minus 2x. And yan, solve dividing both sides by negative x plus 2y, that's just y prime is equal to y minus 2x all over negative x plus 2y. So, yan na yung sagot. So, the next topic that we're going to cover is yung higher order derivatives. Yung higher order derivatives is continuation lang ni first derivative. That's, ano ba next? Second derivative, third derivative, fourth derivative, and so on and so forth. So, yung first derivative, we can say that as f prime of x, or pwede ding maisulat na f of 1. I mean, ayan. Pwede siyang gantong notation. The second derivative is dalawang prime, or pwede siyang masulat na ganyan. May parenthesis para hindi mo pagkamalan ng exponent. Pwede third derivative. Para ano lang, continuation, and so on and so forth. So, let's try some example. So, for example, find the second derivative of 2x cubed minus 3y squared is equal to 7. So, higher order derivatives. So, let's try evaluate the second derivative. First, let's solve for the first derivative. So, that's just the first derivative nata is 6x squared minus natutunan natin kanina, that's just negative 6y, y prime, and this is 0. Then, solving for y prime, we have y prime is equal to x squared over y, diba? So, we can, this is the first derivative. Since we're looking for the second derivative, let's take the derivative further. So, the second derivative, we're going to use the product rule, okay? So, the product rule says that, so if this is high, this is low, yung x squared is high over low, the quotient rule says that the derivative of a quotient is low d high minus high d low over low square. So, first low d high. So, low, tapos derivative ni high is 2x minus, diba? Kung makikita nyo. So, low, tapos derivative ni high is 2x minus x, minus high, which is x square lang. X square times the derivative ni low. Anong derivative ni y? Y prime, diba? Over low square. So, hindi pala, wait. So, take the derivative both sides, since ito is y prime na, take mo pa yung isang derivative maging y double prime na siya, or yan na yung second derivative. And then, yun nga, yung quotient rule, na low d high minus high d low, which is ito. So, ito na yung ito na siya, simplify na lang. So, substitute. Then, since we know that y prime is this, since we know that y prime is this, we can substitute it here para ma-complete. So, ito na yung sagot. The second derivative is equal to 2x over the y minus x raised to 4 over y cubed. So,